Welcome to What the Tech. You know the drill. We're here to cut through all the hype and get right to the news you can actually use. So, Jack Dorsey, CEO of Block, dropped this bombshell. The most ideal case would be to have no layers at all. Everyone in the company reports to me. Now, you might think, wow, that sounds pretty wild, right? But hold on, because some of the biggest names in tech are actually starting to make this a reality. Yep, we're talking about a massive reorg. Big tech is basically saying goodbye to the M word, the manager. And you've got giants like Meta and Block leading the charge to completely get rid of, or at least totally change, the traditional middle manager role. And this is where it gets really interesting. It's not just about firing people. It's about changing what the job is. Look at this breakdown. We're moving from the traditional manager who just manages people and oversees work to this new idea of a player coach. These folks are expected to build right alongside the team. They have hands-on duties. It's all about creating a flatter structure and getting leaders back to doing the actual work, not just watching other people do it. So the big question is, why now? What's the catalyst? Well, this isn't just some random idea they cooked up in a boardroom. Nope. This is a direct response to some huge forces, both technological and economic, that are fundamentally changing the way we work. It really boils down to three key things. First, AI. Generative AI is getting so good, it can handle a lot of the classic manager stuff. It's also giving regular employees direct access to information that only their boss used to have. Second, you've got good old-fashioned cost pressure. Companies are looking to get lean. And third, there's this huge demand for speed. The belief is that flatter teams without all those layers of approval can just innovate and ship products way, way faster. And Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Meta, he really hit the nail on the head. He said, we're starting to see projects that used to require big teams now be accomplished by a single, very talented person. That right there, that is the core idea. The bet is that AI can be a force multiplier, making one person so productive that you just don't need all that management overhead anymore. Okay, so it all sounds pretty revolutionary, right? A lean, mean, AI-powered machine. But hold on a second. Before we start writing obituaries for the middle manager, we really need to ask, haven't we seen this movie before? Because yeah, we have. And let's just say it didn't have a happy ending. Let's take a little trip back in time to the 2010s. Remember Zappos, the online shoe company? Well, they became famous for this radical experiment called holacracy. The idea was to completely eliminate all job titles and all managers, a truly flat organization. So what happened? Honestly, it was a mess. It created total confusion. Nobody knew who was supposed to make a decision. There was no clear path for promotions or career growth. Things just stopped. And the final tally? A few hundred employees. We're talking almost 15% of the company got so frustrated they just took a buyout and walked out the door. So, yeah. That's a pretty powerful warning, isn't it? It shows that you can't just rip out the existing structure and expect things to work. Turns out, managers actually, do things. And if you get rid of them, you still have to solve for all the problems they used to handle. I love this quote from Chris Kaufman, the co-founder of StockX. He said it's like moving the peas to the corn compartment in a TV dinner. It's such a perfect analogy, right? If you just change the job titles but don't change how decisions get made or how people get paid and promoted, you're not really changing anything at all. So how do you actually do this right? We're going to get into that survival guide in just a second. But first, if you're getting value out of this, do us a quick favor and hit that like and subscribe button for What the Tech. And hey, drop a comment below. Have you seen this happen at your job? We'd genuinely love to hear about your experience. All right, so let's get to the good stuff. How do you navigate this new world? This is your survival guide. This is the news you can use, we promise, whether you're the one making these calls or you're on the team trying to figure it all out. Okay, so if you're a leader, listen up. The absolute key here is how you do it. Implementation is everything. You can't just delete managers from the org chart. You have to replace that function with something better. That means you have to be super clear about who gets to decide what. You need to use AI smartly for the boring, repetitive stuff, not for human judgment. And you absolutely have to invest in training these new player coaches. They need a whole new playbook. And what if you're an employee in one of these new flat teams? Your game plan has to change too. It's not about managing up to your boss anymore. It's about building real influence based on the quality of your work and making sure that work is visible. You've got to become a pro with the new AI tools. And maybe most importantly, you need to develop what we call bridging skills. Things like running a meeting, giving clear updates, basically all the coordination stuff a manager used to do. So when you zoom out, what's really happening here? What's the future of your boss? Well, it all boils down to a huge trade-off. Companies are making a bet. They're willing to give up some of the stability and the clarity you get from a traditional hierarchy in exchange for a massive injection of speed and innovation. And here's the bottom line. Can this whole thing actually work? Yes, but, and this is a huge but, only if companies are willing to do the really hard work. They have to completely redesign how decisions are made, rethink how they train people, and redefine what success even looks like when you don't have managers.
And that leaves us with one last kind of wild thought to chew on. Will your next manager be an algorithm? Seriously, think about it. In this new world, is your next project, your next performance review, even your next promotion going to be decided by a person or by a system? It's a question that sounds like science fiction, but we're all going to be facing it a lot sooner than we think. Thanks so much for watching WtT.